position. Now, much has been said about these two gentlemen, but I think Sam would back me up on what I'm about to say, in the sense that they had a spirit about them of inclusion, of wanting all of us to understand the true meaning of art, and that it wasn't just something that was academic, that it was communal, that it was something that was spiritual, and that it was something that we should have a lifetime commitment to. Now, there were two different perspectives as to how you would see these people. James Herron was no nonsense, and yet he kind of, he taught by parables and playing around, telling you things. I remember the first time I encountered him in Driskell Hall, where the art department was located at Howard University in the 1950s, was in a painting class, and he came up to me and looked at a painting. I was doing a portrait of a young lady wearing a blue sweater. And without introducing himself to me, I heard this cantankerous old man would just say anything and embarrass you and what have you. But he said, you're a new art student, right? I said, yes. And he said, well, I'm looking at that painting you're doing. And he looked at the arm of the young lady who was wearing a blue sweater. He said, you'll never paint a better seascape in your whole life. That was my introduction to James B. Herron. Now, when we were in his class and we wanted to really get even with him, and that was often, we would call his entire name, Professor James Vernon Lee Alphonsus Joseph Augustus Herron. We didn't like that. That was our comeback. Now, in contrast to James A. Porter, James Amos Porter, they were all the Howard University people in those days. Their whole department was, you must dress well, you must speak well, you must act well. And all of that was a part of the whole atmosphere of art. But Professor Porter kind of dressed like an Englishman. You know, he was never there without cufflinks and the tie and the pen and, you know, all of that. And yet he taught. But when his introduction in Driskell Hall to me, and I was in a drawing class in Professor Wells' class in 1951, and he stood behind me and watched me draw for a moment, and then he said, what is your name? I told him. He said, well, I don't think I know you're an art major. I said, no, I'm a history major. And he looked at my drawing, and he said, well, you don't belong over there, you belong here. So I went and changed my major. That was my introduction to Porter. And he then became my mentor. And I thought, well, I'm going to be this painter, change the outlook of the world. I'm going to be a social commentary artist. Summer of 1953, I went up to Skowhegan. I had Jack Levine as my teacher, and Jack Levine being a social commentary artist, I said, well, I'm going to change the world by showing them, you know, that I can be a critic, I can do this, that. Well, that didn't last very long, but when I came back and Porter said, we have a new person on the faculty and I want you to take a class with him. And by that time, Porter was chairman of the department. Herring was retiring. And I said, who is this person? He said, Morris Lewis. Now, Morris, of course, was very quiet. He was just entering into that period of getting involved with the stripes and the strips of painting, what have you. Didn't speak very much. He just